If you're loving this podcast, be sure to check out the full lineup. From news and local politics to sports and true crime. Find your next great listen right now at DuluthNewsTribune.com/podcasts. That's DuluthNewsTribune.com/podcasts.
Hello, Northlanders. It's Wednesday, July 10th. I'm Wyatt Buckner, the Duluth News Tribune Minute, presented by Minnesota Power Employees Credit Union.
The average MPECU member saves over $785 a year in better rates and lower fees. And with MPECU, every ATM is your ATM. With their free checking program, you get ATM fee reimbursements at any ATM anywhere in the U.S. Check out Minnesota Power Employees Credit Union's services online at mpecu.com or visit their offices in downtown Duluth, Arrowhead Road, or Miller Trunk Highway.
Now here's a look at today's headlines. The Duluth City Council will consider criminalizing certain non-violent offenses that have been frequently identified by citizens and public safety leaders. A package of 10 proposed ordinances announced Tuesday by Mayor Roger Reinert would seek to cover behaviors including graffiti, property damage, illegal burning, dumping, and camping on public property.
First, our goal is to educate, encourage, and enforce in that order. Enforcement is last. We want to hold people accountable for their choices and their behaviors, but we in Duluth prioritize connection and diversion. That's not just being compassionate, which we are as a community, it's also being effective and cost efficient. Second, a big part of what we're doing with these ordinance changes is creating a misdemeanor option, which we do not currently have.
The mayor said the proposed changes are the result of a comprehensive assessment of city ordinances and state statutes, which identified gaps in the city's ability to tackle some chronic quality of life issues. Duluth is one of the few cities in Minnesota that lacks misdemeanor level offenses, Reinert said. That means officials are only able to issue administrative fines. A petty misdemeanor carries up to a $300 penalty and no jail time. Implementing misdemeanors, the lowest level of crime in Minnesota, would allow for penalties of up to 90 days in jail and a $1,000 fine. But leaders said the goal is not to incarcerate more people. Rather, a criminal charge can open the door to additional services, such as diversion programs, mental health and substance use resources, participation in the South St. Louis County Mental Health Court's Misdemeanor Plus program, and supervision by a probation officer. Police Chief Mike Sanoa said without a misdemeanor option, those things are off the table.
This is not about criminalizing these people, but it is about working with behaviors that make us all feel less safe within our community, to include people who are on our margins, who are struggling.
Fire Chief Sean Creuset agreed.
The main thing that we really are looking for is this is a way for us to actually have other avenues to take besides just a city citation. When we're working with the community that needs help, vulnerable communities, whether they're unhoused or other mental health issues or other things, this gives us a pathway to services. It actually gives us opportunities to hook people up with the crisis response team, for example, the police department, CERT teams, and some of our other county partners that we've been working with for years on some of these issues.
Among the ordinances, all introduced by 4th District Councilor Tara Swenson, it would become a misdemeanor to disturb the neighborhood or solicit money while falsely claiming a physical disability, deface public or privately owned property or possess, quote, graffiti implements, end quote, camp on city property after being informed of charitable and social services and warned of criminal prosecution, set fires, deface structures, dump waste or remain after hours in any park or publicly owned property, or drive a motorized vehicle on a recreational trail, damage, litter, urinate, defecate, smoke, or vape in the skywalk system, obstruct streets or sidewalks as a group without a permit, or ride an ATV in unauthorized areas, discharge an airsoft, gel, or paintball gun in unauthorized areas, and conduct burning without a permit. The proposed ordinances also seek to define a host of terms, clarify other language, and bring the city code up to date with various state regulations. Reinert provided one notable example where he said a gap was evident between city ordinances and state laws. A man who had spray painted the word plunger across hundreds of services in the city was seemingly caught in the act earlier this year. but he was released without immediate charges until officers could build a case for first-degree damage to property. Asked about the impact on the ongoing pro-Palestine gathering at Priley Circle in downtown Duluth, leaders said that was not a target of the public safety package, which has been in the works since Reiner took office in January, but the changes could have ramifications as they would apply more broadly to public property. Overnight camping is already prohibited in city parks, but the Civic Center area is not a park. Reiner agreed that the location is a, quote, space in our community that was meant for civil protest, end quote. However, he noted the city has an ability to impose some time and place restrictions on free speech, and the ordinances would be, quote, enforced uniformly across the community, end quote. The ordinances will get a first reading at the City Council's Monday meeting. If approved after a second reading July 29th, the changes would go into effect 30 days later. A 34-year-old Esco man died Monday after losing control of the vehicle he was driving, the Douglas County Sheriff's Office said. Ryan Van Penbrook was driving south on the 4600 block of South Darrow Road in the town of Superior when he, quote, lost control of his vehicle, rolled several times, and was ejected from the vehicle, end quote, the sheriff's office said in a news release. A passing motorist reported the debris and crash site to 911 dispatchers just before 3 p.m. Monday. Authorities pronounced Van Penbrook dead at the scene, the sheriff's office said. The sheriff's office is investigating the crash. The William A. Irvin, the retired Great Lakes freighter now permanently parked in the Minnesota Slip and operating as a museum, will host a 6-week live music series that kicks off July 25th. Local artists will perform on the deck of the ship each night of the series, with listeners seated in camp chairs they supply themselves. Each show will take place from 7 to 8:30 p.m., with free admission and attendance capped at 140. The events are billed as family-friendly, with only non-alcoholic beverages served. According to a news release from the Duluth Entertainment Convention Center, which owns and operates the Irvin, the series was the brainchild of a woman who grew up in Duluth and recently moved back to town. Charity Benedict, looking to launch a distinctive music series like Glenn Sheen's Concerts on the Pier, contacted all the artists and secured series sponsorship from Pizza Luce. The music on the ship series opens with sets from Charity and Nate, and Eldry Snow and the Wintry Mix, then concludes August 29th with Boss Mama and the Sanja Martin Band. Now here's a look at your forecast, brought to you by Superior Telegram's history podcast, Archive Dive.
Good morning. This weather forecast for the greater Duluth area for today, generally sunny with a very slight chance of some showers and thunder showers today. High temperature pretty close to 80 degrees. Very little wind today as well. For tonight, generally clear. Temps will drop back down into the mid-50s, light winds, and then Thursday looks sunny without any chance of rain and a high again right around 80 degrees. Temperatures will be ramping up over the weekend, and there will be a few scattered showers and thunderstorms. I'm Storm Tracker meteorologist John Wheeler.
Thank you to Archive Dive for their support. The monthly history podcast, hosted by Superior Telegram reporter Maria Lockwood, dips into the archives of historic events, people, and places around Superior and Douglas County. A new episode titled The History of UW Superior and the Astronaut is now available at superiortelegram.com, or if you also get this podcast. Reporting for today's episode was done by Tom Olson, Jimmy Lovren, and Jay Gabler. Thank you for listening to Duluth News Tribune Minute. Have a great day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.